Gold and silver, the path to power. Power has never begun with armies. Armies follow later. Power begins with money that people trust. Well, before there were modern banks or central authorities to administer them, societies around the world were taught a painful but ultimately profitable lesson. It is money's strength and not its supply upon which a great state depends. Gold and silver, rather than having value simply because of appearance and subsequent value due to scarcity, were commodified because they were durable. Societies which understood this rose quickly, while others fell unnoticed. The litany goes on from Rome to Ottoman to Britain. A sound money system breeds growth. A decayed money system begets decline. The Roman Republic did not conquer the Mediterranean through brute strength alone. They conquered through logistics, wages, and a currency respected over continents. The denarius was more than mere silver. It is a promise. The denarius was introduced during the 3rd century BCE and had a large content of silver. The Roman soldiers were also paid in denarius. The merchants traded in it. The governors of provinces used it for taxes. A Roman coin from Italy was able to purchase grain from Egypt or wine from Gaul without negotiations. Such trust was a revolutionary idea. Such monetary consistency allowed Rome to achieve something which had never been accomplished before: deploy a standing army over long distances. Soldiers' loyalty was not based solely upon their nationalism. Soldiers' loyalty was based upon the fact that their salaries had value. Veterans could retire with enough money to buy themselves some land. Merchants could accumulate riches without the possibility of sudden debasement. The Romans knew that their true weapon was their credibility. When Rome grew, its silver went too. It acquired gold and silver through its conquers of Spain, Greece, and the Near East. This provided it with infrastructure, roads, harbors, and aqueducts. It economically integrated after conquering, rather than conquering after integrating. Its power could be scaled because of its reliable money. But with stability comes restraint, and restraint is something that the first thing political systems do when pressured. In the 1st century CE, Rome began to experience military expenses, bureaucratic growth, and a succession of rulers who created a volatile politics. Rather than raising taxes, a simpler way for emperors to increase revenues was discovered: lessen the silver content in a denarius while maintaining the same face value. To begin with, it was just subtle. It was a few percentage points, hardly detectable. But markets are more attuned to patterns than rulers are. People began to pay more. Soldiers began to ask for more money. The government reacted by striking more coins, and inflation insidiously entered. By the 3rd century CE, the denarius was nothing more than a shadow of its former self. The amount of silver remained below 5%, prices skyrocketed, bartering was back. Public tax revenues had fallen because the currency was no longer worth anything. The fall of the Roman Empire was not due to barbarians being stronger. The fall of the Roman Empire came because the money became useless. The military disintegrated when the value of salaries became meaningless. The cities became empty when trade stopped. The political power vanished when a promise became impossible to keep.
The empire existed for many centuries as a name, but its fiscal backbone was shattered, Paul Bidwell observes.
Later, the Ottoman Empire would make the same mistake in a different set of metals, a different geography. The Ottoman Empire reached its peak and controlled all trade routes between Europe and Asia. This alone would assure prosperity. However, trade routes without a standard of exchange are just routes. The akçe, which was an Ottoman silver coin, was once one of the most reputable currencies within the Islamic world. In the 15th and early 16th centuries, it contained a standard amount of silver. The taxes were stable. The military pay was regular. It expanded rapidly. So long as the value and purity of the akçe were maintained, the empire grew from Anatolia to the Balkans and the Near East. The soldier fought not only for his religion or for territory, but also for the value of his money when he got back home. Next, pressures built. This was accompanied by constant warfare, administrative expansion, and extravagance in the royal court. Instead of cutting expenses or reforming the taxation system, the Ottomans decided to reduce the value of their currency through debasement. The silver content of the currency was gradually reduced. There was a justification for this, since more coins could be produced from a constant weight.
The effect was Rome in reverse, Rose remarked. Inflation rose. Janissaries were angered because their wages were worth less. Provincial governors embezzled the hard currency or required payments in kind. Foreign traders favored the use of European money over the Ottoman currency. Confidence waned.
Undergrounds by the 17th century, the akçe had lost all credibility. The system of tax farming became predominant in the empire, and corruption and lack of authority of state were observed. The Ottomans did not fall apart overnight, nor do empires. They decay over time, and when people stop believing in money, they stop believing in the government.
Britain began learning from such setbacks, at least in the initial stages. İzlediğiniz için teşekkürler. Abone olmayı unutmayın.